Hi guys, today I thought I would do a quick pickups video, and everything you see here we were able to pick up from Goodwill, either in the main building or even in the bargain room. We found a lot of great things, and we've been just incredibly lucky finding things at thrift stores and really haven't gone to actual, gaming stores or anything like that in a while. Really been picking up a lot of stuff just from really good thrift stuff or yard sales. One of the things that was a very exciting find was the first 10 seasons of South Park on DVD, and it was pretty crazy. I couldn't believe. Found one or two seasons together, and then I was just kind of looking through the store and picked up seasons 1 through 10 of South Park at Goodwill for next to nothing. I picked up all 10 seasons for the price of like 2 to 3 seasons that you would normally find online. So that was a really great find. Something that's very surprising because typically at the Goodwills near us, you don't really find seasons of TV shows very often, and if you do, there's maybe a disc missing, or there's say 3 or 4 discs to a season. One of those 4 might be scratched to oblivion, so it's not worth getting. But all 10 seasons were in great shape, and it was a fantastic find. I couldn't believe that. And similar to that, I think it was like a week or 2 later, I found another interesting find that I was not expecting. A bunch of audiobooks, old audio cassettes. For you youngins that don't know what an audio cassette is, one of these things, and they're all audiobooks of the X-Files. A couple really cool ones right here. One of them is the first movie, Fight the Future, and then we have an unofficial companion book one. And this one is read by, I don't know if you're a Star Trek fan, you're going to know Nana Visitor, Kira Nerys. So she is one of the people here, and it really just, these are really cool. And I don't know, some of you might think it's kind of stupid to get old audio tapes, but I really like from that era a lot of audiobooks, and I tend to not get a whole lot because I prefer to read the book, but occasionally if there's a really good presentation, the audiobook can be really interesting, and tends to be with a lot of sci-fi stuff. They do a really good job with adding in kind of music and special effects and getting really cool people, often even people within the sci-fi community or actors from the actual show or book, whatever that they're using, to be the narrator. And they can be a really interesting thing to have, even just kind of in the cars or driving places rather than listening to music. Sometimes I like to listen to something like that. So those are really cool, kind of new things that also have like a nostalgic feel for me. And only 2 games in the past couple of months that we found that we're actually going to keep rather than just trade in stuff. We've been kind of avoiding. We have a really cool Just Press Play is the family-owned video game store in our area. They have 3 stores, really cool, a lot of fun to go to, and we haven't really gone there a whole lot in the past few months, really since the middle of the summer, because we've been saving up credit there for Black Friday, and I'll do a Black Friday video for you guys. I'm going to take out my wife and my little brother and probably my sister-in-law. We're all going to go out to at least 1 or 2 of the stores, if not all 3, just to kind of check them out, and I have built up kind of a lot of credit. But we found 2 games to keep from Goodwill, and Knight's Journey of Dreams for the Wii, and this is one I'm not sure if I'm going to hold on to or not. We actually already have a copy. This one's actually slightly better shape than one we have, so I don't know if I'll keep it as a double or end up trading it, whatever. But it's a good game so far. I actually played a little bit of it, and I definitely don't think it's quite as good as that classic feel of the original on the Sega Saturn, but it's a little, I think, underrated and underappreciated, and will be one of those Wii games that people go back to as people go back to the Wii 3 to 5 years from now and realized how much they missed out on, how much is actually on there, the hidden gems, the system where it's not all just kind of like casual, goofy games. There's a lot of really great classics that people missed and are probably going to go back to, kind of the way people did, I feel, for something like the Dreamcast or the GameCube. The next one we found Jet Set Radio Future, and this is a good example of why I even got an original Xbox when it first came out to begin with, is a lot of the great sort of Dreamcast, shoved over there, a lot of these sort of leftovers from the Dreamcast games that were originally going to be put on the Dreamcast and weren't finished in time for Sega wanting to financially put that on the system, move to the Xbox. All the systems, PS2, GameCube's got some stuff, but Xbox really got the best selection of Dreamcast stuff shoved over to it, and that was one of the main reasons, and that was one of the main games that I was looking forward to picking up back in the day. So really great find there, and probably the most interesting find for me. I've always wanted to get into laser discs, and I'll talk about those a little more in depth another time, but I've never been able to collect for them because where can you find them really? Aside from going online, you have to be really lucky depending on where you are with thrift stores finding them, and no place around me sells them at all. You're stuck with things like eBay or randomly finding them at Goodwill, and over all the years, this is the first time we found our very first Laserdisc ever at Goodwill. And this kind of brings me to the point of, of Toy Story here, and I'm very excited to have this a good starting point. This is actually one that was on my list to get on Laserdisc, so that was really cool. And this again brings me to my point of collecting, where we got this for 50 cents in great condition, our first ever Laserdisc. And you can build a collection that way. You don't have to spend tons of money. I mean, people, and so a lot of my shots you'll see right now in front of like the manga and the books, but in most of my videos I'm in front of a big portion of my games, and even then, like those, they're too deep, and then the rest of my collection's on the other wall, so you can't see it on the show at all. But you don't have to spend a lot of money to have that. Some people come in and they think like, holy crap, you've spent all your money on games and books and things, and you don't have to do that at all. And again, 50 cents, we finally started our Laserdisc collection, and I've always wanted to do it for years, and eventually I will look up specific titles and want to buy them online, but you just have to have patience. I could have gone and spent, $5, $10, maybe even $15 with shipping, getting a copy of Toy Story on Laserdisc, but instead I waited and was patient, got it for 50 cents. And a lot of times you can do that, just random finds, and you get to a point where you pay, the money, you really shell out for some specific games or movies or books, but overall, if you're patient, eventually you'll get the majority of stuff without doing that, just stumbling into it. And you can build a collection that way more quickly than you really think. So just something to tell people, if you're just starting to collect anything really, make a list for yourself of things that you're really looking for, and really try to narrow that down to the things you really, really want and the things that you really think you'll enjoy, and collect things that you will use and enjoy rather than collecting for the sense of collecting. And just have patience with it and enjoy things as they kind of come in. Don't really go out with the anticipation of, I'm going to build this whole collection in a year or two. You can do it, but you're going to spend a lot more money, and in a way it's more fun to spend 5, 10, 15 years finally building that collection and always having that search for that one thing. And a lot of times it really is that journey. It's going to places, I like going to garage sales and thrift stores and going out of my way to look for things that you never know if you're going to find this like hidden treasure. Spending time with my wife, or spending time with family or friends, going to conventions and meeting new people and talking to people, trading with people, that type of thing. The journey, in a way, becomes part of that collection. And then when you finally build that, you have, instead of just remembering a dollar amount attached to something you brought in, you have a story, a bit of a memory with each item, remembering, wow, yeah, I remember that trip, when, how we picked up that Laserdisc. I remember, when we found that rare VHS that was never put on DVD, or that one game I've been looking for 10 years and I found it in perfect shape for like $2 somewhere. And just those stories are more interesting. You remember who you were with, where you were, and it's a lot more fun that way, and you don't have to, again, spend a fortune building a big collection. This is a good example, the manga, the shelf. You've seen one of my videos where I showed the whole shelf so far. From the floor to here is a little over half of it, and then it just keeps going, and there's doubles behind it and stuff. And manga, especially now, tends to be around like $10 a volume. It's crazy, but a lot of these we've paid like 50 cents for, or less even. And it's just going to thrift stores and being patient, and occasionally picking up individual titles at full price, but same thing applies to everything. So that was a bit of a pickups video, and just a little bit of trying to make a point a little bit in having fun, showing you some of the interesting things I found, how you can do that same thing. You don't have to go out of your way and spend a lot of money to get a really interesting collection that tells a story about you pretty quickly.